they immigrate with a purpose, but a lot of black people here, like they came as slaves, and then even after slavery, they kind of still live in that system of oppression that doesn't really let them escape being in a more higher wealth, higher income household.
What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Look at my house.
Take a look at these numbers here in the US, right? 2023. Those are some stark differences. So let me be really clear about this.
These numbers are insane, bro. According to the median household net worth, these are statistics from 2023 from the Federal Reserve. Asian families have a net worth of $535,400 on average. White families is $284,310. Hispanic families $62,120. Black families $44,100. Native American $25,000. That is insane. That is insane. The only reason I paused it is because when we have these type of debates when it comes to discrimination and privilege in America, I always refer back to statistics and numbers, and I want people to look at this. When you say white people have all the privilege and white people get all the benefits, you do need to realize that white people aren't even the richest demographic in America. And I keep saying that, and I don't think people understand what I mean by that. They're not even the most financially affluent demographic in the United States. And I'm not giving any shade to any other group of people who earned their spot at the top. I'm just saying that how do they have all the privilege and they didn't even make themselves the richest group? But nonetheless, this video is about discrimination in America. Let's get into it.
This is net wealth. So this is, if you take all your debt and you add it up, and you take all of your wealth, your major purchases, not little tiny things like your cell phone and that sort of thing, but major purposes and all the money you have and the investments you have in your home and the equity in your home, not just your home. You might live in $1 million house, but the bank might own 700,000 of that. So your wealth is only 300,000 related to your house. Okay, so if you take all of your wealth and you subtract your debt, that's your net wealth. Okay, and so when we do that, the median household wealth, what that means is you line up the wealthiest person at this end, and you start going down, the second wealthiest, third wealthiest, fourth wealthiest, and you go all the way down to the other end, one big line, and it's the poorest person. Let's just take the person in this room, in the room. So the richest person and the poorest person. And we go right to the center, right here, and whatever that number is. So Isabella, is it right in the center? Half of you are wealthier than Isabella, half of you are poorer than Isabella. And then we ask Isabella, okay, what's your net wealth? What's your net worth? And whatever that number is, that's the median household net worth, okay? Are we good? Assuming that she's her own household. So, all right, you ready? Hank, when you see those differences in numbers, where's your mind go? What do you think?
Me. The top.
That's you, my friend. Well, it doesn't mean you're at the top. You could be at the bottom. It's people who are of your ancestry at the top. But that doesn't mean that you're at the top. You could be the poorest person in the United States could be Korean Taiwanese in their ancestry. So, but anyway, go ahead. So when you look at those numbers, what do you think?
It makes sense, I think, given what I know. Like Native Americans are probably they are the most oppressed group in the U.S. historically.
Yeah, so, and that got messed up. That 25,000 is an estimated number because I can't get that number, but I was just sort of going to lots of different places and estimating. Okay, so go ahead.
I don't think the disparity should be that big.
It shouldn't be that big.
According to my morals.
Okay, but it is.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing that you think is, yeah, that's really, really disparate, man. There's some big differences in those numbers. Uh-huh. Isabella, how about you when you see those numbers? What jumps out for you?
I mean, when I see those numbers, I think my head goes straight to like the way that like redlining, if that sense, works, and like the way that income cycles generationally with like where people live and education, and like how the disparities in like I guess the same neighborhoods where
Uh-huh.
through generations.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Generation after generation. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What else? When look at the different groups, right? Like what comes up for you there? Does anything pop up for you? Did you expect Asians to be on top?
I mean, I feel like I have like seen like similar statistics to these before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it's, at least from my perspective, a lot about like higher education and like who is able to obtain higher education in the United States
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and how that like I guess directly relates back to wealth.
Uh-huh.
And what's weird about this whole thing is that his name is Hank. Hank is the one in the blue shirt, who's Asian. The first thing he noticed when he looked at this chart, he didn't say like the Asian community is doing the right thing. He didn't say anything about them making right choices. He immediately said, or immediately referred to the oppression of Native American group of people because they're making less than 10% of the Native American group. I mean, the Asian group in this image in the United States. And that line of thinking to me is not going to help anyone. And the reason it's not going to help anyone is because you need to be looking at the decisions that the Asian community in second place, the only other group who has a median household net worth in the six figures, the white community, are doing to get these figures. What are they doing to get here? Not saying oppression does or doesn't exist, but what circumstances led to this level of success? Literal financial success in their communities that can be mimicked in other communities to get them more success. Because when it comes to median household net worth, America has capitalism. When you say distribution of wealth, we have a capitalist society. This is not communism. They're not distributing wealth to predominant Asian communities that's monitored by the federal government. No, they let you go out, earn your own money, and they've earned a lot of it. It seems like them in the white community. So, what other groups doing that are leading to less household net wealths? What do you guys think?
Hey, Logan, we'll come back to that. Okay, that's good. Thanks. Logan, how about you when you look at that?
I would say comparing the bottom three with the Hispanic, Black, and Native American, I was more surprised at how like close they are, and then the massive gap it looks like between the median wealth from them to whites and then Asians up top. I feel like it could factor in about the proportion of each race going in there, where they could happen to be where more Asians just happen to have more of that wealth, and then the median just happens to be that large of a number, and then there's just a lot of the white people and a lot of Hispanics that are just closer to that value. But I just didn't expect the gap between, I guess, like the top three with like the Asian, white, and Hispanic to be that large just for the median.
Hank, can you, okay, can you explain why the Asian number is so high? Do you have an explanation in your head? Dude, by the way, first off, how old are you? 18?
Yes.
All right, man, you're 18. You just
Yes.
came off to college. You're a cybersecurity major, okay? Now I'm asking you this question. Can you explain why that number, the median household net wealth for Asians in the U.S., which includes South Asians, Pacific Islanders, and East Asians, why it's so high?
I think a big part of it is,
And by the way, someone just told me in my ear to tell you, no pressure, my friend.
yes. I think a big part of it is that Hispanic, Black, and Native American people, they have kind of come here not entirely of their own volition, or they live in this system not entirely of their own volition.
Uh-huh.
A lot of Asians come here, they have like some sort of financial security, or they have something they want to do here specific.
Okay.
They immigrate with a purpose, but a lot of black people here, like they came as slaves, and then even after slavery, they kind of still live in that system of oppression that doesn't really let them escape being in a more higher wealth, higher income household.
What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Look at my house. Look at my house. Look at this. Hold up. I'm not rich. I'm not rich, bro. But I feel like there's this narrative spreading around, and I don't know why this happens. That there's just like this belief that black people are just trapped. Like we're trapped in poverty. Like we cannot escape. That's not true. That's not true. And it's a little, it really rubs me the wrong way when I hear it. The reason the Asian community is so rich, like aggressively rich as the image showed, for the most part, is because of education. That's really what it is. Education or skills just lead to more money. In America, that is. That's just how it is. And I'm not saying that will affect everyone, but on average, that's really what it is. It's education, it's family, it's skills, it's stuff like that that will lead to some sort of stability. I'm not saying you're going to be rich, but just stability. And when they look at the black community, oh, they're just being oppressed by the world, possibly. But are we achieving degrees at the same rate as other races? Are we achieving trades at the same rate? Are we staying together as a family at the same rate? No. If we were to fix these issues and we were still not getting the same results, then it would 100% be oppression. It would be undeniable at that point because we were getting the degrees. We were getting the trades. We were staying together as a family. We were doing everything right. And we were still not receiving the results. Then I will come online and be like, yeah, it's 100% discrimination. But we are not doing those things. And until we do those things, it's hard for me to sit here in good faith and say that society is oppressing us. It's really hard for me to say that. And who are we getting oppressed by? Are we getting oppressed by another race? Are we getting oppressed by the federal government? Who exactly is oppressing people? Is it laws? Like, I just don't see it. But what do y'all think?
And then same for Hispanic and Native American.
Wait, system of oppression, but some black families are in the
Yes,
the upper 1%
yeah.
or 10%.
Yeah, and in the same way, some Asians are in the bottom 1%. Some Korean, Taiwanese Asians.
Okay.
But-
All right. Yeah, listen, you got it. Also, it's fairly recent. The Asian migration into the United States is very, and increasingly what we're seeing with Asian. So, by the way, here's the thing. Nate, by the way, job. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Just when we look at black people who identify as black in the United States, the highest net worth is among Africans. Because, to get here from Africa, first off, just a quick thing, nobody really wants refugees. Nations accept refugees, and they accept poor people. They accept refugees when they really have to, and they accept poor people when it's in really their interest to accept poor people or when they have to. But nations want educated people who can come, contribute, and then go home if they want, back and forth. That's why Trump is offering these visas for $100,000. Or what is it? The new visa for like $1 million. So anybody can come here. We'll give you a visa right away. He gives them $1 million. And there are a lot of people who are like, all right, we got $1 million. And Africans, if you're living in Mexico or Central America, you can, historically speaking, sneak over the border. You don't have to have anything. You need, you don't even need $5 in your pocket. But you're not going to get here from Africa if you don't have money. And so what we see is Africans, highly educated, much wealthier, who are immigrants from Africa. So it's like when we look at black people, it's like, yeah, you got to really divide that up. Well, the same is true for Asians. The large segment of Asian migration in the United States are people with money, and people with who are coming to go to school, and then they stay here, and they're going to professional school, and so on and so forth. And so it's like you just see this income and wealth get really high among Asians because of the exceptional education and wealth and professionalism and so on, right? So
yeah, it gets really complicated. But what do you guys think about this video? I think it was a pretty good video, and I like the way he leads his class. My name is LFR Jojo, and I'll see you guys on the next video.